Fishing, the journey that became my passion. Fishing at first glance may seem like a simple, leisurely activity, often associated with peaceful lakes, serene rivers, or the open ocean. For many, it is just a weekend pastime or a family tradition. For me, however, it evolved into something much more significant, a passion that has shaped my character, taught me valuable life lessons, and connected me with both nature and people in profound ways. The journey of how fishing became my passion is one of discovery, perseverance, and deep introspection, all of which began in the most unexpected of places. The early encounters with fishing. My first memories of fishing go back to childhood, though they were far from the passionate moments I would experience in later years. I grew up in a small town near a river, and like many kids in such a setting, I had the privilege of spending a lot of time outdoor. My family would often visit a local lake or a river for picnics, and on some of these outings, we would bring along simple fishing rods. My father, who was never particularly interested in fishing, would occasionally cast a line out into the water just for the sake of trying something new, and I, as a curious child, would follow his lead. At first, the experience was about the thrill of the unknown. I would sit there with the rod in hand, eagerly waiting for a bite, but the excitement was often tempered by the long, quiet stretches of waiting. Most of the time, nothing happened. It seemed like the fish had better things to do than bite. These early experiences, while entertaining, were not enough to ignite a lasting interest. Fishing, for me, was just another one of those activities that didn't really hold my attention for long. But even though the first experiences were marked by boredom or impatience, something about the process, the quiet, the waiting, and the stillness had a subtle, almost imperceptible hold on me. Looking back, I realized that fishing was a momentary escape, a pause from the usual childhood chaos. Little did I know that the seeds of my future passion were being planted during those early days. The turning point. The first catch. The first real turning point in my journey with fishing came when I was around 15. My family had moved to a new home near a larger, more famous lake, renowned for its abundant fish population. It was here that I would experience the breakthrough moment that would change everything. It happened on a summer afternoon when my uncle, an avid fisherman, came to visit. He had been fishing for most of his life and treated it like a serious hobby, a craft that he had honed over the years. He noticed my casual disinterest in fishing and decided to teach me the basics, hoping to reignite some spark in me. Armed with more advanced equipment, he took me to the lake, and this time, he was determined to teach me the art of fishing the right way. The first step was to learn how to properly cast a line, how to handle the rod, and how to be patient with the process. It was no longer about simply waiting for the fish to bite. It was about becoming one with the water, understanding the movements of the fish, and immersing myself in the rhythm of the lake. The breakthrough came when, after several failed attempts, I finally felt a tug on the line. My heart raced as I pulled the rod back, setting the hook, and began reeling in the fish. The struggle between the rod and the fish was exhilarating. After a few minutes of back and forth, I finally pulled, but for me, it felt like I had just reeled in a giant. The feeling of triumph, the exhilaration of that struggle, and the rush of excitement created an unforgettable experience. That was the moment I became hooked not just on fishing, but on the very idea of becoming skilled at it. As I continued to fish with my uncle over the following weeks and months, I began to appreciate the deeper lessons that fishing had to offer. It wasn't just about catching fish. It was about understanding nature, mastering a skill, and embracing the process. One of the first lessons fishing taught me was patience. Fishing is a waiting game. There are no guarantees, and you can't rush nature. I had to learn to sit quietly, to be still and let the world move around me. At first, this was incredibly challenging. I wanted immediate results, but fishing taught me that the process itself could be just as rewarding as the end result. The anticipation, the quiet moments of reflection, and the feeling of time stretching out, all these became part of the joy of fishing. The second lesson I learned was persistence. There were many days when I went home empty-handed. It felt frustrating to put in the effort, to prepare, to wait, and to not catch a single fish. However, fishing taught me that success does not come easily. Some days, the fish simply aren't biting, and there's nothing you can do about it. But those days weren't failures. They were opportunities to reflect, to tweak my techniques, and to improve. The act of fishing itself became a lesson in resilience, in learning not to be discouraged by setbacks, but rather to use them as a springboard for growth. Fishing also taught me to observe and adapt. Every fishing trip is different, and the conditions of the water, the weather, and the fish's behavior can change in an instant. Over time, I learned to read the water. I learned how to look for signs of fish activity, how to adjust my bait, and how to change my tactics. Fishing became an exercise in adaptability and problem solving. It was not just about casting the line and hoping for the best. It was about being strategic and using the knowledge I had gained to increase my chances of success. Lastly, fishing became a way for me to connect with nature. There was something deeply meditative about sitting by the water, surrounded by the quiet sounds of nature. The rustling of leaves, the gentle ripple of the water, and the occasional leap of a fish became a symphony that put my mind at ease. I began to appreciate the rhythms of the natural world, the intricate ecosystems of the lake or river, and the creatures that called it home. It wasn't just about fishing. It was about respecting nature, understanding its cycles, and becoming a part of it. The social aspect of fishing. Another aspect of fishing that deepened my passion for it was the social side of the activity. Over the years, I began to make connections with other anglers, and fishing became a shared experience. Whether it was a weekend trip with friends, a family outing, or a solo expedition, fishing provided an opportunity to bond with others. The experience of fishing together, the shared struggle, the anticipation, and the joy of success or failure created a unique camaraderie. I found that fishing was a great way to build relationships. It was a conversation starter, a way to connect with people from different walks of life. I met fellow anglers who shared their experiences, offered advice, and became mentors. These interactions were not just about fishing techniques but also about life itself. Fishing has a way of breaking down barriers, of creating common ground, and of teaching the value of patience, perseverance, and respect for the environment. In fact, some of my most meaningful conversations have happened while sitting quietly beside the water with a fishing rod in hand. These moments of shared silence, punctuated by the occasional chatter, have forged some of my strongest friendships. Fishing has allowed me to meet people who, like me, have found a passion in the activity and a deep appreciation for what it represents. Over the years, my love for fishing has continued to grow and evolve. I began to explore different types of fishing, from freshwater to saltwater, from fly fishing to deep sea fishing. Each form presented new challenges and adventures, but the underlying passion remained the same: the desire to master the craft and the thrill of connecting with nature in a meaningful way. Fishing has also become a part of my identity. It is no longer just a hobby. It is a lens through which I view the world. The lessons of patience, persistence, and adaptability that I learned through fishing have transferred into many other areas of my life. Whether I am tackling challenges at work, dealing with personal obstacles, or simply enjoying moments of quiet reflection, fishing has shaped the way I approach life. Moreover, fishing has become a means of self discovery. It has taught me to slow down, to appreciate the present moment, and to find contentment in the journey rather than focusing solely on the destination. Through fishing, I have learned that success is not just about catching fish. It is about embracing the process, learning from failures, and celebrating the small victories along the way.